All right, well, welcome everyone. I believe we're live. So this is one of our many virtual open forums. And today we're going to be very targeting and talking about our international student forum, but we've opened this up to many of our colleagues in the general public. Special invitations went out to our international students as well as so many of our other faculty. But before I introduce my special guest today, I want to set a little bit of context. Last week, our federal administration announced that it would ban international students attending United States colleges in the fall if they were to only take online. Now, for many of us, that kind of blindsided all of us because, as you know, COVID-19 has forced many institutions, including this one, to be primarily online. So that created a ripple of concern and for many panic. And let me put a little more context on this. According to the Institute of International Education, more than 1 million international students take courses in the United States. That's about 5% of the overall student population in America. Now, here at Fresno City College, we have about 100 students who are taking international, who are international students. But first and foremost, they are Fresno City College students. And this latest decision by the federal government really blindsided all of higher education. And while there'll be legal challenges in the court right now, I know that more than 180 community colleges and universities have filed a legal brief. We know that we have to be pragmatic in our approach and let the courts continue to have that conversation. But there is some hope for our students, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I want to talk a little bit about our response. When we first got this information back last week on July 6th, we had an email that went out to all of our international students, and we talked about what was going on. We had the designated school officials from Fresno City College, Fresno Pacific, and California State University, Fresno, met last Tuesday to talk about how are we going to discuss, or how are we going to be able to have pragmatic solutions with these new regulations and how they would impact our international students here at Fresno City College. Then on Thursday, I sent out an invitation to all of our international students so you could have time to talk with us and discuss the regulations and how we're planning to support our international students. And we're here to answer questions. And then, of course, we opened that invitation up to all of our faculty and staff here, as well as the general public, because so many people were emailing me and texting many of my administrators saying, what are you going to do for our international students? Because Fresno City College, our legacy is part due to our strong international program. So today with me, special guest, I have Dr. Lataria Hall. She's been on these with me several times, so I know many of you know her. She's the Vice President of our Student Services, Dean of Students and Counseling. Miss Monica Cuevas is going to be joining us, and Mr. Sean Henderson. Many of you know him. He's been the Dean of Students for a while and very active among our students. And of course, a new face for us is Mr. Ryan Nguyen, who is our Director of International Students. He's a coordinator there. He's doing a great job. He has gotten no sleep over the last several weeks. And then Miss Janine Gonzalez-Cerda, one of our counselors, doing a great job. And she's here to answer your questions today. And then Jocelyn Rosales Rodriguez, who's joining us today as well. So thank you, all of you, for joining us today. I really appreciate you being here. And of course, I want to thank Amy Strobel, who you see right now interpreting for me. I think we need to take a moment and congratulate her on her new role starting in August. She has been an English ASL interpreter with us for a number of years, and now she will be teaching interpreting to our students. So if you're a student out there and you have enjoyed watching Amy interpret for all of us, this is an exciting career, a wonderful career, a career that is needed. You too can learn more from our Amy. So Amy, congratulations. And with that, let's get started with our panel today. So Sean, take us away. Let's hear what you guys have been doing.
Okay, here we go. I thought I was sharing. Let's do this one more time. Okay. Oops. So as Dr. Goldsmith, you have mentioned, today's purpose for today is to update the students on the new regulations, to inform how they impact our students, to describe how we, the college, will support our international students, and provide a forum to question and answer. So last Monday evening, we got an update from SEVP, which is the Student Exchange Visitor Program, which basically assigned colleges into 3 categories for the upcoming fall semester. Either colleges and universities will be 100% online, 100% in person, or a hybrid. So the guidance for each area, depending on where your college or university fell, was if you were going to be 100% online, then international students must go back to their home country to continue studying. If the college or university was going to be 100% in person, then it would be normal regulations. If the college or university plans to be a hybrid of the two for the fall 2020 semester, then the international student must take at least one course in person or hybrid to remain in the US. So what does that mean for our international students? You guys will need to take at least one course in person or hybrid for the upcoming semester. This course must meet your program or degree requirement, and making a counseling appointment will be very critical. Your I-20 will need to be recertified with these new changes by August 4th of 2020. So how will we support our students? We have a host of hybrid courses available currently for the fall 2020 semester. There's a link on the Fresno City College website, and you want to make sure that you search for a hybrid course, not an online course. It needs to be hybrid. So we have Janine Gonzalez with us today to provide a demonstration on how you could search for some of the courses that are currently available.
And while Janine is getting her screen up, I just want to remind all the students who are listening, we want to make sure that you talk to your counselors as we move forward, because they're going to help you get the right course. It's not only about taking a hybrid course, but we want it to be the right hybrid course for you. So Janine, thank you so much. And I don't think we're seeing the right screen, although it looks like it might be your beautiful family.
Oh man.
It's okay. This is live TV or live streaming. It's these sort of things happen every once in a while.
Oh no. What happened?
Well, let's see. Maybe Mark can help us as there we go. Well, Janine, as you're working, maybe we could talk a little bit. Maybe you could walk through the process. There we go.
How's that?
Oh, there we go. That's what it looks like. Great.
I'm just sweating a little bit, but we're okay. Hello, everybody. So we have already, me and Justian have already reached out to many of you who have already registered, and we applaud those of you who have already registered. Starting Friday, yesterday, and today, me and Justian have met with several of you to talk about how we need to switch you over to 100% online to a hybrid class. So many of you know how to do that and what to look for on WebAdvisor when you're looking up classes, but there is many of you who have not registered yet. And so and we've been getting questions on how do I know what a hybrid is versus a web on WebAdvisor when I'm looking for my classes. So kind of just wanted to walk you guys through that. And again, many of you know, but for those of us who do not, when we're on WebAdvisor, there's a couple of ways we can do it. we can search specifically for hybrid courses offered at Fresno City College. So when you see this list here, if we just click hybrid, oh no, hybrid classes, that is one way you can specifically just look up hybrid classes. The other way is if you search courses, the very last link there, then you can search it by subject and it will pull up all the classes offered in that subject. But what you're going to notice is some of them are 100% online and some of them are noted as hybrid. And the hybrid classes are what you want to look for. Our priority as a counseling team is to make sure that you are registering for a class that shows progress within your major. So we are going to work very hard in trying to look for a major course or a general education class that you need that is offered at Fresno City College. So we're working hard on working with the departments and the directors and with Sean's assistants and Dr. Monica Cuevas' assistants. We are working on trying to make sure there are classes that meet your goal. So what's important right now for you is to reach out to us so we can begin to look up those classes and work with you individually, update your student educational plan as needed. And me and Josiane have prioritized our schedule for the rest of this week and next week and however long it takes to get you all in a hybrid class to meet these new regulations.
So I just want to pause right there and let the students know that, when this directive came out on July 6th, that evening, there was the vice presidents along with many of their deans met and started looking at the current hybrid offerings to make sure we had enough bandwidth to be able to accommodate our students for this new regulation or this new hurdle that they must overcome. So I just want to let all the students know, since that initiative came out, since that new ruling came out that took us all by surprise, your administrator teams, your deans, and many of your faculty have reached out and said, we want to make sure we have a hybrid course that will help our students. So we're committed to help you here. And I think there's been you may have a question and many of you have a chat feature. Please take a time to ask us a question because this is here for you. So I want to thank Janine. You saw how you could go on online and search for those classes, but now might be a good opportunity for some of you to ask a question. So if you have a question, go ahead and use the chat feature and we'll see if we can get your immediate question answered. Well, I see one of the questions is, how do I know you're going to have a hybrid class for me? Well, as I just shared, a lot of our faculty and deans are coming together now to make sure that we will have a wide variety of courses so everybody in their majors will be able to have a class. And Janine, maybe you could talk a little bit more about what kind of classes you might envision a person might be able to take, say if they were an engineering major.
Yeah, what we're noticing is that there are a variety of science classes that are offered. There's a variety of math classes that are offered, a whole lot of physical education classes that are offered. So what we're doing is pulling up everybody's student educational plan specifically and going over all the courses that a student would need and looking up every single hybrid class that would fit their needs. So there is a variety of classes and a lot of options that we can work with.
So one of the other questions I'm seeing right here from Joseph. Joseph, I have 3 classes left. So how does it affect me if I can't have a hybrid class? Janine or Josine, can you maybe talk about that? Well, one, I think Joseph needs to talk to their counselor, but go ahead and maybe give a little more advice.
Yeah, so Joseph, if you haven't already, you want to reach out to me and Josiane so we can pull up your educational plan specifically and see what options you have. And if there's not absolutely any class that that's going to meet your need, your major, then again, we can have the conversations with Sean Henderson and the department and directors to see if there is anything we can do to assist you or what other options we have for you.
Right.
While we're waiting for more questions, I just want to echo Dr. Goldsmith about remaining calm, and really we're here to support all of you. We've worked really, really hard as a team with other colleagues as well to make sure this plan will work. I know that most of you are very stressed out, which I can really relate to and want to hear you. But just note that we are here, and the plan that you and your counselor will work together, it will work for you. So if you have doubt, just reach out to your counselor to make sure that you schedule an appointment and listen to them. If they advise you to take PE, go ahead and register for PE. They know what's best. We've looked around enough to make sure to that we will help you out through this, and your status will not be jeopardized. So I see a lot of questions relate to what if this, what if that. Just listen to your counselor. Everything will be fine.
And I know there's a lot of anxiety out there, and I'm going to ask Monica, who's the Dean of Counseling, maybe to talk about. I know we've had a number of talking circles and those type of activities for, here's the thing, our students, the stress level and the anxiety, as I'm seeing some of these questions, and we are going to get to your questions, but I know the anxiety level is really high. We're dealing with COVID-19, a pandemic. We're dealing with economic uncertainty. Many of our students, especially our international students, are feeling that stress. Plus, they're away from home. Could you talk a little bit about maybe some of the talking circles that they may be able to be involved with to talk about some of the anxiety that they're feeling?
Certainly. Dr. Montano, he's our director for psych services here at Fresno City College. And we have a venue where students that are having either depression, mental health, a sense of just being alone, especially for our international students that might be away from home from another country, to be able to have that open venue, safe space to have conversations with psych services. The other thing is, as I saw a couple of questions, as one of the deans, I am going to be working very closely with the instructional deans to ensure that if some of them are overlapping with your hybrid classes, we're going to work very closely to provide those outlets for you so that you do have an hybrid class that will relate to your student educational plan, to assure you.
Monica, that's a great question. I see a couple of questions there about that. And I think that what you just said bears repeating. I know Arturo had asked, what happens if the hybrid class overlaps with his other classes? What if you're unable, the timing of that? Could you talk a little bit more about what kind of flexibility we have?
So we have flexibility with hybrid. We have classes that run from 7 a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. And regardless, because now we're, looking at different options for our students with hybrid, definitely our instructional deans, whether it's in the math section, reading, or anything that you need to have one or two of those classes so that you can complete and graduate, we're going to be accommodating to work with those classes to work with your schedule and your student educational plan. As both Josiane and Janine have stressed, they've already reached out to you. They sent out emails. And if you haven't received anything, they are available to provide those student ed plans for you to assure that the hybrid class is appropriate for the class that you need. They will be in direct contact with myself so that we can assure you that we provide the appropriate hybrid class for you to graduate.
And Ryan and Dr. Hall, I'm seeing a lot of questions about what exactly does this new regulation say? Do they have to take one hybrid class? Is it 1 unit, 3 units? Ryan and Dr. Hill, what is the understanding that you're seeing from the new federal regulations?
This is actually a gray area that we can take advantage of. There's no specific as to how many units this class has to be, so it can't just be 1 unit course. Once again, schedule an appointment with our counselor, listen to them. The classes they will advise you will keep you in status. The worst case scenario is that you might have to do take some concurrent enrollment classes at Fresno State or Fresno Pacific, but I don't see that happening now. But if that comes up, your counselor, Janine, Miss Josiane, will advise you. And I'm working with our colleagues from Fresno State and Fresno Pacific to make this concurrent enrollment process as seamless for all of you as possible. So once again, reach out to us.
Dr. Hall, would you like to add a little bit about that too?
Yeah, so, we know our current administration, things change rapidly and it's very fluid. But one of the things that we've been having a discussion about throughout the state is just this very question. And as of now, our students are okay with, as long as they are hybrid and it's a face-to-face. There is no limit on how many units a student has to be enrolled in face-to-face. They just need to be enrolled in a face-to-face class, so that it can be satisfied through like our hybrid, or if we're going to do a PE or whatever mechanisms we're putting into place to support all of you.
And I want to kind of let the students know, Dr. Hall actually serves on a statewide committee of student support officers, and she's been in constant contact with her colleagues up and down the state. And Ryan started off our meeting. I want to remind everybody, he's working very closely along with Mr. Henderson with our educational partners at Fresno Pacific and Fresno State. And Ryan, there's a few other institutions you're working with as well, correct? Yeah, tell us about those other institutions, and are they doing similar plans like we are?
Yes, we are working with Fresno State as well as Fresno Pacific, which are within that area, and they are doing very much the same thing. I've reached out to other colleagues as well who are doing, DSL and dealing with this whole situation. As we interpreted this, we're coming together to really make sure that this will work for you. So once again, rest assured that the plan will work by taking the hybrid classes that your counselor will assign to you, then it should be okay.
Sean, I'm going to get you to get your magic 8-ball or your crystal ball. I'm seeing a lot of questions that people are asking. What if I'm on a hybrid class and things worsen with the virus and we're all online? Would that status of hybrid change?
I believe that's a local decision for the college at this point. I know that we've been approved to establish some hybrid courses for those courses that have mandatory contacts that have to demonstrate competencies or have lab components. Now, as a campus, I saw questions about safety. You have to wear a mask when you are on campus. All labs and any in-person contact will be socially distant. We'll have masks on, sanitizer will be available, and contact will be as limited as possible for what needs to be accomplished in that visit. The college continues to sanitize the property, and I believe that we've done everything possible to contain the virus and to remain safe. We have folks on campus that continue to do that work every day. So I just wanted to make sure students know that when you are on campus, you will need to wear a mask. We will ask you to stay distant and keep each other safe.
Sean, thank you. You answered that 100%. And here's the thing we do know, we just saw it yesterday. Right now, the virus is tracking in the wrong direction. That's why we saw our governor repeal some of our activities. And I want to remind everybody that higher education is a stage 3 activity, and there's not a county yet that's in stage 3. In fact, we're rolling back to 2.5 now to 2 in terms of our stage of availability. But I want to remind everybody who's listening, either live or on a recording, Fresno City College, since March, while we have been primarily online, we have safely and let me say that again. We have safely offered our nursing programs, our first responder, police and fire, even our dental hygiene program without an incident. So we've been working with the Fresno County Public Health Office, as well as working with our faculty partners and classified professional partners to make sure we have safe offerings. About a month ago, we just offered some additional hard to replicate courses in our automotive program and welding. We have a task force on campus for the planning of our science activities, our science labs. We're working very closely with the county so we can do these activities safely. Your safety is our number one goal. So our classes that we have as hybrid will be safe. You will be asked to have a face covering when you come onto campus. If you don't have one, I suspect we'll have some available either to give you, or we might send you to the bookstore to pick one up. But we want you to be safe, not only here, but everywhere you go. You need to wear a mask. I want to say that again. all of us, if we just would all wear our masks for a few more weeks, we could get the trend lines going down. So while Sean doesn't have a safety or doesn't have a crystal ball, and neither do I, one thing's for sure. Even during the pandemic, while we've been online, we've been offering classes in a hybrid format safely. So the classes that we're going to be adding to that portfolio in fall will also be safe. So we will continue to offer those to you. Then we have a question, and I'm not sure who is going to ask, maybe Ryan. There's a question, I want to know about health insurance. Do we need to pay the health insurance fee for the fall? Ryan or Dr. Hall, do you have an answer for that one?
I can take that if you'd like, Dr. Hall. Once again, your health is our top priority. We want to make sure that you're healthy and safe. With that said, health insurance is critical and it is required of all of our international students. We are looking into changing our coverage because as some of you have spoke up and really had some concerns about our current policy right now, and we heard loud and clear, and we are changing that policy as we speak. So within the next few days or next week, we'll be communicating with all of you as to what is the new plan and how to purchase a new plan. So that way you are covered and you don't have to struggle with what you've been dealing with the current coverage. So rest assured, we'll send out some more communication in regards to health insurance.
All right. So stay in contact with Ryan and your counselor. We're going to be giving that information to you as we receive it. One more question about fees. I saw one here. The good news is when you come onto campus for a hybrid course, whether that's a PE course or a science lab course or one of our other hybrid courses, no one will have to pay for parking. Our parking fees have been waived. We want to thank our partners at the district. That means our faculty and staff. Many of you, like myself, sometimes we have to go onto campus. Those faculty members who will be teaching a hybrid face-to-face, you too will not have to buy a parking pass this semester. I think it's just one way that our college and our district can show that we care and we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to make this an easier transition for all of you. So another question about the I-9, Ryan, this is a specific one. Does the I-20, does it need to be updated for those students who have pending status in immigration? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, that's from Emma. Emma, if it's pending status, that has to get approved by the USCIS before we can actually get you into classes. Until that's been approved, we can't really do much. I understand that you are working with a professional to get that approved. Stay in contact with me as we've been doing, and we'll help you out there, okay? If you are in active status right now in our record or are transferring from another college, we can certainly help you out, and that's not a problem at all. We just need to re-register you, validate your I-20, and get you into those hybrid courses.
All right, Sean. So we've taken some little bit of Q&A. We will go back to Q&A in just a moment. But Sean, I know you and Ryan and Janine and our counselors have put together a little bit more of a presentation. Shall we go back and maybe put that presentation back up so we can walk through some of this? Thanks, Sean.
Sure. Okay, so as we've been really trying to underscore in today's forum is that your counseling appointment is critical. And I hate that maybe we're not being as specific as you'd like with some of the questions that you're asking, but each student's going to be different. It depends on your program. We will have a hybrid course for you. Does it have to be 3 units? No, it does not. It can be 1 unit. As far as your I-20, what we have to recertify is that you're not going to be taking 100% online courses. That's really what we have to do for your I-20 is just recertify that it's not 100% online. And that you're making progress towards your degree, which we will do. But we can't do that until you're registered, and we can't get you registered until you meet with your counselor. So we need to make sure that happens. And Ryan will get that done for you. So how do you schedule a counseling appointment? If you're already currently a student with us and you have your counselor's contact, please contact them immediately to schedule an appointment. Their calendars are wide open and waiting for you. If you haven't worked with a counselor yet, the contact information for our office is right there. The 442-8256 is the direct line for the International Students Program, and iss@fresnocitycollege.edu for email.
All right. Well, thank you, Sean. We're going to leave that up there just for a moment, because if you're watching this, I want to make sure that you know you can have someone, you can call them. They will answer the phone. We have an email. And it's important that every international student, and I would even argue our other students, it's important to schedule an appointment with your counselor. That way you can make sure that you have the right hybrid, or the hybrid that's going to meet your educational plan. We're confident that we have that portfolio available to you. But I wanted to take an opportunity again to thank everybody who's been on this call, from Dr. Hall to Monica Cuevas to Sean Henderson to Ryan Hun to Janine Serta to Joseline Rosales, and of course Amy, for making this accessible to everyone. While so many people joined us on this call, there are so many others who are here for you and want to support you, because we understand at Fresno City College, international students have made an immense contribution to Fresno City College, meaning with your participation in our classrooms, it has enhanced our ability to have diverse conversations. It has enhanced the richness of our cultural diversity, so people can learn from you just as you're learning from us. Many of you also play on our athletic team, so it's helped our athletic competitiveness. So we are incredibly happy, and we support you all here. We want to make sure that you know that you are supported. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank all of our counselors and our faculty who've been here throughout the years, and to let you know that we will continue to be here. And one of the questions to Ryan from HBHI. So Ryan, if I take a 1-credit PE class, do you think that's going to be okay? Ryan, what do you think?
As long as your counselor says it is okay, because it is somehow towards your degree requirement, then we are okay. I cannot just sign up everybody for a PE class, which is not the right thing to do. I want you to make sure that you check with your counselor, either that comes from Ms. Josiane or Ms. Shanine. As long as they said, hey, Ryan, that student is okay to take that PE class, then it is okay. All right? Just listen to your counselor, stay calm, breathe, and we are here for you.
Absolutely. Good advice. Breathing and see your counselor. Those are 2 good pieces of advice for you today. And I keep seeing in the comments, one of the questions is, what if we all have to revert back to online? Is that going to change the status of my hybrid? No, it won't. There are some things that'll be out of our control. Our hybrid is just that. That means you may meet a few times on ground, and then we may have to go back to online. But even as a hybrid, you will be participating online as well. So it's going to be an ongoing informational piece. And I just saw Vincent to everyone. So there's a news release just now that the White House has rescinded the rules that they made last week. That's good news. We're gonna, I believe in trusting and verifying. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hope that that is the case, because there's been 180 community colleges, and I know the state of California, we are part of that legal action asking the White House to change its mind. So I am hopeful that is the case. If it is not the case, I hope what you've heard today is that counselors and administrators and faculty, we are here to support you. I sure hope that's the case. Ryan, you want to talk a little bit about that? Oh, you're muted, Ryan. Try again. Oh.
That is new to me as well, but if that is the case, that's really, really good news. And as you know, with this pandemic, everything is so fluid. Things are constantly changing. So I do appreciate you all being patient and just look out for our communications. look out for our messages. Just listen to what we tell you, then everything should be okay. If that is the case, we'll send out another communication. Just take 100% online, which is completely fine, and we'll be in compliance. So whatever it is, that's the most updated. We'll listen to that and follow those instructions. All right.
So I want to thank everybody on here, and I'm Googling now as we're on this live virtual forum, and I see that it says the Trump administration rescinds the foreign student rule. That was reported by The Hill. The LA Times said the Trump administration rescinds rule on foreign students studying online. CBS Boston, Wall Street Journal, many of these news outlets are reporting that the administration has changed their mind, which we are going to be incredibly grateful. But we're also going to read the fine print. I want to take a moment at this time and thank our state chancellor, Eli Oakley, and our state attorney for pressing the legal challenge. It looks as though we may have been successful. I want to encourage every international student to continue to stay in close contact with Ryan and your counselors, because if one thing this pandemic has taught us, we need to be in a state of adaptability and flexibility, meaning you got to stay fluid. You got to be able to stay and be able to pivot. I call it the COVID cha-cha. We're going to take a step forward. We're going to take a step back. We're going to go online. We're going to come back. And we're going to get through this together. We're going to have grace with one another. We're going to breathe. We're going to trust that we're all here together and that we are better together. I want to thank Ryan and Janine and Sean and Monica and Dr. Hall for their steadfast championing of your efforts and your success. I think we'll just kind of close it out. Maybe let's close it out with pieces of advice that we could give to our students. And I think I'm going to go first with Janine. Janine, could you give our students some advice? What do you want to tell our students and everybody listening?
Yeah, sure. As Ryan has indicated several times during this meeting, is that it's so important for you guys just to stay calm, reach out to us, and we are here to support you. We have been working very hard all week to make sure that we understand what the regulations are as they were and what we know of them to be, and we are here to support you. So reach out to us, and we're here to serve you the best that we can.
Josiane, you want to share some wisdom with our students? What pieces of advice can you give them?
Yes, like Janine and Ryan mentioned, please stay calm. We're here to support you as much as we can. And like Ryan mentioned before, also make sure that you make an appointment with us. You can email me directly as well if you like to my Fresno City email, and we can schedule an appointment as soon as possible.
Great advice. Monica Cuevas, our Dean of Counseling.
Can I give two?
You sure can.
Okay, so update Talking Circles is going to be next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. And the counselors will give the information out to you if you need the service provided. That's one advice. Number two, I had two instructional deans. They listen to the live stream as we speak, and they're ready to accommodate us for those hybrid classes, anything in PE with the Allied Health Dean and also the Social Science Dean. So we already have folks that are going to be flexible. I just want to reassure you that we're going to work with you and provide those hybrid classes for you to accommodate your schedule. Those were my two pieces of advice.
Sean, thank you, Monica. Sean, what pieces of advice, what wisdom can you give to our students, our international students, and anybody listening to this live YouTube virtual forum?
Well, before the advice, first of all, I hope all the students understand that we are here to support you, and that the net is wide, and it responded immediately, and the city came together with all the higher institutions coming together on your behalf to solve this problem and show support. Now that everybody else has given the advice, here's what I would say. Increase your zinc intake. Get some vitamin D. Get out in the sun once in a while. Physical activity is fantastic for you. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. But do what you can to keep your mental health as strong as your physical health. Please.
Sean, that is great piece of advice in a pandemic or even not in a pandemic. You know, staying healthy, getting the right nutrition. That's why PE classes, there's a lot of coaches I'm sure that are watching this. They're going to teach you about being physically strong, talking about the nutrition, keeping your mind strong. It's so important that we keep each other strong during these chaotic times. So thank you, Sean, for bringing it home for that. Ryan, as our coordinator of the International Student Program, what pieces of advice can you give our international students or any student who's watching this?
Sure. I get more opportunity to talk. Well, first, I just wanted to thank our administrators. Sean, my direct supervisor, has been amazing, very supportive behind all of this, and President Goldsmith, Dr. Hall, and our counselors, Ms. Janine and Josiane, for being there, and of course, our Dean of Counseling for being super supportive. Just know that all of us are on your side. We're here to fight for you. We are here to do what's best for you. Just trust in everything that we do, and listen to us when we do offer advice. Stay safe, and hopefully the news just came out 7 minutes ago is true. If that's the case, we will communicate with you, and everything will return to normal again. Okay?
As normal as it can be in a pandemic. But you know what? We are trying to keep things as normal as we can. And Dr. Hall, I know Vice President of Student Services, you field a lot of questions. I'm seeing some more questions about when's the final date for payment and charges. And either you or Monica could answer that. But I also want to give you a few moments about what pieces of advice would you give our international students and any of our students who are watching?
So before I jump into that, my Dr. Goldsmith had mentioned earlier that I work with the association on a statewide level. So I'm receiving lots of communication, and something that just came in, it said the Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement have agreed to rescind a policy that would bar international students taking online only courses from residing in the United States. Federal Judge Allison D. Burroughs announced it at a hearing on Tuesday. ICE will revert back to the guidance it issued in March that allows students taking online courses to reside in the United States on F-1 visa. So I want to say to all of you that we are committed as a college and as a state. We fight social justice issues at the higher level. We come together to make sure that all of our students are recognized and supported. We've done it through our DACA students. We've done it through, as you've seen, through Black Lives Matters. They're supporting all of our African-American students. Our LGBTQ community, who were also attacked by the current administration, where they have their health insurance removed. And now through our international students. And I will have to say that we are batting 100%. So this is what we do. We fight. We fight. We fight at the higher level. We're not afraid to get into the ring. And I just want to encourage you that you should continue to pursue your education. Allow us to fight these big battles for you on your behalf. And you focus on getting the grades that you need to continue on. My advice would be just to echo what Dean Henderson has said. I can't say it any better than what he said. And just know that we're here for you.
That's great advice. And I do want to remind everybody that, this has been a chaotic year, and we have seen a lot of challenges come against our LGBT students, our DACA students, you may recall, are formerly incarcerated. When we had the CARES funding, you may recall, we thought we were going to be able to give money that was allocated by the federal government to all students. Then they came back and they said, no, you can't give to Dreamers or DACA, and you can't give to anybody who's had any sort of run-in with the law. Well, we were proud to be part of a federal class action suit to fight on your behalf. And now I'm happy to report, and reported at the last virtual forum, we were able to give over 8,000 students, let me say that again, because we fought on your behalf, we were able to give out $2.1 million to over 8,000 Fresno City College students that had been shut out. So this college, our sister colleges in the district, we're not afraid to fight on your behalf. we signed on with the state chancellor's office about the latest thing, and we saw that if the news is right, we won that battle too. So we're here for our DACA students. We're here for our Black students because Black lives do matter. Black minds matter. And for the last 4 years since I've been here, and many years before that, this institution has looked at how can we do better for all of our students of color, including and being able to say Black lives matter. So we have a proud tradition of being there for our students. And then sometimes that means taking up a fight. So everybody who's on this call has written letters to both state and federal legislators, has worked late at night to be able to get the answers that you needed. And we saw what happened today when people listen. So your voice matters and we care. And there's been a lot of, I'm getting some private messages about why can't we buy insurance from an outside vendor? And I'm going to tell you, I don't know. But while we've been on this call, I've used my phone to send out an email asking why can't we? But I'm going to ask the question maybe to Ryan or others. There may be a federal regulation, or Sean, you may know. We're looking at our insurance vendors. We're trying to get that information. And why can't we buy? Is that a federal regulation about why we can't, or do we know? Ryan or Sean?
Dean Henderson, I can take that if you'd like. We just want to make sure that students have the same coverages because we want you to have the health insurance that will protect all of you in a manner that our federal government requires. With that said, it's really, really difficult for us to let any student to go out there and purchase random insurance and call it a health insurance. It's really just for consistency, for your safety. And I understand that some of you've had some concern about our current policy, and that's why we're changing it to a new policy. And I can assure you that this new policy will be better. I will address the concerns that you all have had in the past. So I implore you to just give it a try with the new insurance coverage that will come out this week or next week. Give it a try and see if there's any issues. We're on it. We're there for you. We'll continue to make changes as needed to make sure that it will address all of your concerns. So again, I appreciate all of you voicing your opinions and really giving us the feedback. For the past few months, I've been with Fresno City College. So continue to do so. And I will be there. I'll be in the front of the line to fight for you and to bring it up to Dr. Goldsmith to make sure that all of you are served. Okay. So work with us and provide us feedback with this new coverage. So I hope that explains and clarifies some of the confusion that you all have had.
Well, I think that's a great piece of advice that we could end with, is just work with us. I know that many of you, especially our international students who are on this live streaming event, work with Ryan, work with Sean. They're going to work behind the lines for you to be able to get you not only the classes, but the insurance and the policies changes that you need. So continue to work with them. I know that Ryan and Sean are working with the state and many at the federal level. So thank you all. And my advice to all of you, besides to continue to work with us, is to make sure that you are enrolled. So I know many of our international students are enrolled in those courses. For any of you who happen to be watching this just because you were interested and maybe you're not back in college, I would say now is the time for you to get enrolled. And if you're only taking 9 units, maybe you need to take one more class. We know that we are going to be probably in a remote reality longer than we all want. So we're not going to be able to go to any concerts anytime soon. We're not going to be able to do any traveling anytime soon. Now is a great time to go back to school and take one more class. So with that, I think it's time for us to say goodbye for this week. Let's all wave out. Amy, thank you so much for your live streaming. I want to thank Mark Tabay, who's rolling our behind the scenes and doing our social media work. Thank you, Mark Tabay. Thank you also to Chris Monahan-Brimmer for being our marketing director, and Kathy Bonilla, our public information officer. Again, thank you all. Stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands. Take care, everybody.